This week on MS Refresh, Microsoft goes all in on the hybrid workplace model. Hadn't they already? Group-based membership was here, gone and back, and this is our second live broadcast. All that and more, subscribe to stay in the know. This is the MS Refresh Show. Hi there, welcome to another episode of the MS Refresh Show. This is episode 21 for the week of May 24th. I'm Sean Bugler.
So close.
Wait, was it not?
22.
Oh, you wrote 21. I'm having my agent call your agent. I'm Sean Bugler on the west coast of the United States.
And my name is Matt Wade on the East Coast. Such live.
The people did express their disappointment that there wouldn't necessarily be bloopers at the end. Well, joke's on you. This just means that all of them are going to be deeply embedded in the live component.
Yes, agreed.
Matt, how are you?
I'm good. The weather has been amazing. Spent some time out at the pool at my family's house over the weekend, which was great. What's new over on your side? Yeah, it was very nice.
Not too much. We went to our first get together. We went to a birthday party, still outdoors. I still had my mask in my pocket, but it was for a very brief moment. Things felt pseudo normal, which was kind of nice.
Yeah, I can't feel the rage for like that one woman that we'd see in the grocery store every time who when she'd walk in, she had her mask around her wrist, and when the person would question her, she'd go, "No, see, I have it." And like, now I can't say anything bad because in New York, masks, as long as you're vaccinated, are no longer necessary. But
California is going to be right behind June 15th. I think is the big date.
Oh, did they actually do that? Okay, I heard you guys are a little behind us, but we're a little. I feel like we're a little ahead on the scheduling, but whatever. That's outside of the realm of this typical show topic. But
I hear you're in the home stretch on your book.
Yeah. Yep. Final review was a couple weeks ago. And from what I heard this morning, the PDFs were sent out to the printer, and theoretically things should be going out. I think Amazon says the end of June for US customers. And I think they're on schedule for that. That's the aim. And so I'm pretty excited about that.
And of course, as always, your pre-order link, I believe, is in the show notes, so people can pre-order if they haven't already. Super exciting.
Right. If I can just swindle anybody else to go forward, that would be great. It's just a bunch of white pages. It's going to be great. It's kind of a choose your own adventure. You're going to really like it.
Somebody called you between the two of us when we were talking about the show originally, somebody called you the marketing personality in this, and I was like, no.
Ouch, that hurts.
I mean, you have always been successful because of the content you put out. People see good content and they share it. It's word of mouth. You're very word of mouth. You've never been a very self-promotional guy, in spite of your own attempts, I think.
Fair enough. Yep.
All right. Now that I've punched you enough times, how about some news?
All right. Sounds good. Let's get into it.
This is the news. Visio Online is finally getting some love via Office.com. Coming later this month, according to the roadmap, Visio will be picking up improved file discovery, enhanced collaboration features, and better template categorization. The ultimate goal here, according to Microsoft, is to provide users with a familiar start experience similar to other apps in the Office 365 ecosystem. A minor thing, but handy nonetheless, Teams will soon allow presenters to lower all hands in a meeting, so you don't have to do it one by one. For anybody that's run a mass meeting where you did have to mute and unmute people piece by piece, so this is going to be a nice beneficial feature for you. Also coming in June. There we go. Coming next month, Microsoft Teams admins will pick up the ability to customize branding for the Yammer Communities app to bring the Teams Yammer experience in line with the look and feel of their existing Yammer setups. As an added bonus, it also appears as though rich link previews are also coming for those instances where users paste a URL of a conversation from a public Yammer community. Useful in case anyone tries to reuse a Rickroll, or I guess to reference an answer to a question somewhere else in Yammerland. Share to Teams, the ability to send an Outlook email directly to a Teams private chat or a channel should now be rolled out to everyone according to the roadmap, parentheses, except government clouds, of course, end parentheses. We waited for this one for a long time, so hopefully you're finally seeing it. If you don't, shout at them on Twitter. Why not? Background noise suppression in Teams meetings has fully rolled out to all macOS users, completing the feature availability. Though notably, the feature is not supported on the new M1 Max. Hope you didn't buy it just to use with Teams. Pinned emails, that mystery feature limited exclusively to the web experience of Outlook, is finally coming to Outlook on iOS and Android later this month. Perhaps one of the most anecdotally popular web-based features available in Outlook on the web, it's been available for years. So to say it couldn't have come at a better time would be a bit of an overstatement. Maybe next we can see categories? That would be nice. Outlook on iOS will soon allow you to add calendar appointments, known as an ICS file, directly from an email attachment to your calendar. Currently, you have to download the file, open up the Outlook calendar, drag and drop, and even then it's hit or miss. Coming in June. All right, and buckle up. Microsoft giveth, Microsoft taketh away, and then they give it back. If you're a regular viewer of the show, and we hope you are, you know that we reported a couple of weeks ago that Microsoft had unceremoniously canceled a roadmap entry for security group-driven membership of Microsoft 365 groups. At the time, we reported a member of the M365 groups team, not lowercase t, had indicated on Twitter that the move was temporary while they put together an updated entry that accurately reflected the work happening to bring this functionality to life. Well, it's back, and currently scheduled for December 2022. Now, before you get too upset, the phrasing on the roadmap does possibly hint that we'll be seeing some functionality roll out piecemeal, possibly indicating the mentioned roadmap is for full implementation. Quoting from the roadmap, quote, end users and admins will be able to add a security group or an M365 group as a member of an M365 group. The entry goes on to say that the release will be made in phases, one Office 365 app at a time, eventually expanding to all Office workloads. And honestly, I'll take it. It's clear they're taking the implementation of this functionality seriously, so I look forward to undoubtedly hearing more in the near future.
That was the news.
All right. This is fun. Well done.
They don't get to see how I get rid of the blue screen.
Right? No, of course not. That's just, how the sausage is made.
The scenes, yeah.
Also, that's correct. That's the format that we wanted to see there. Alrighty. So what was the big thing that stood out for you? I think I already know.
Yeah, I mean, so I want to talk about this whole, we were originally calling, security group driven Microsoft 365 group membership. Now, of course, they're calling it Microsoft 365 group driven membership, which makes sense. I think that when we were originally heard tell that Microsoft was working on this idea of letting you use security groups to power M365 groups, I don't think we were necessarily thinking about, I'm sure some people were, the idea of nesting M365 groups. We wanted it, but Microsoft wasn't really giving us any indication that that was going to be the case. They've really kind of kept this conversation around security groups and M365 groups as kind of separate entities, that serve different purposes, and that, and it was confusing. But it's clear that the work they're putting into it now is really focused in on trying to, almost bring them together. Potentially to have M365 groups be the heart and soul of membership constructs across the M365 universe, which makes sense.
I kind of have a feeling that a lot of it comes down to, I don't want to say misuse or like misappropriation, but I think a lot of organizations are using M365 groups out of the box in a way that they probably should be using security groups for, and they don't know that they shouldn't be doing that necessarily. So now you have these hierarchical group structures that you want to use elsewhere, but you can't, and that's really and you can't just rebuild that. Like if you already made that whole setup for a 5,000 person organization, you're kind of stuck with that. So I almost think it's a backwards compatibility thing for a lot of organizations. Not all of them necessarily, but I could definitely see that use case or some of the places I've been working with.
Well, I think one thing, and this is we work in technology long enough, it's easy to forget it, but the user's not wrong when they, the famous quote of the 20th century, the 21st century is going to be Steve Jobs telling somebody they were holding their phone wrong. You're holding it wrong. And I think that is so deeply embedded in the culture of building tech. So when, you talk about them using M365 groups, you didn't say wrong, but this kind of implicitly like wrong.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
You see them using it the way they feel like it's supposed to be used. And Microsoft is smartly so course correcting to accommodate that.
Right. I think it's very comparable to like private channels and Teams. And also, I know that the shared channels now kind of is going to get that cross-tenant access offered. But like the fact that those weren't available from the start means that there was either, a disconnect between what users would be expected to want. And like, we're talking about, millions of people who have been using permission protected folders on shared drives and SharePoint sites for decades now. And like, you think that nobody was going to ask for a permission protected channel in a team, obviously. And then the shared channel concept, which not exactly the solution I was looking for. I was looking more for an inbox where like, it doesn't matter which tenant that I'm in. I'll just see all of my teams in one spot. Like I see in my inbox, all of my email comes to there, or I can have multiple accounts in Outlook and see all of the email regardless of what account. The fact that we have to do this tenant switching thing to go to guest accounts and all that kind of stuff, and it's just, no central place for notifications or actually knowing what's coming. I think that was another thing where it was, your phrasing of like, we're doing it wrong. I think it was more of a unexpected application of their services, if you will. I don't know.
That's how all the best features come to life. Unexpected utilization.
Right. Which is not necessarily a good thing, because if you really go all in on the intended, utilization, and then it's something else that becomes even more popular, you now have to like rebuild from the ground up, which is apparently where this December 2022 date is coming from.
Right. Boy,
which, I'll take it, I guess. But
what do you think that means that they'll apply it app by app? I mean, isn't M360, I mean, if it's a group-based membership, isn't it just update the way that groups work to support nesting? I'm sure it's not that simple, but...
Dude, if I had a nickel for every time I heard somebody from Microsoft say, groups are groups are groups, I could retire at this point. So they should all be the same, right? And obviously they're not, and I hate that phrase. It's actually one of my pet peeves. But theoretically, there should be no implication for the app by app thing, because it shouldn't matter. It just should be a group, right? But obviously that's not really true.
Cudgel in your pocket for the next in-person conference, where if somebody does say groups are groups are groups, you could beat them over the head with December 2022.
Yes, exactly. Oh, I'm gonna get one of those bats and just have somebody burn into it like groups are groups are groups, and that's just like, no, that's wrong. Maybe a dunce cap that says that too, and tell them to go sit in the corner. I like that. Yeah.
Hey,
all right.
I'm gonna take advantage of our live thing for a moment here, because this is an interesting question here.
Sure.
Tim says that could it be that Microsoft was doing minimum viable product and then expanding to what actually what was intended. I would love to believe that that's the case, but Matt, I know you and I have been in this space for a while.
Slack already existed. I'm sorry. You could have taken a photocopier. I mean, people already knew what people liked. It wasn't like they were trying to test it out. But I mean, it's a fair comment. That's definitely true. But clearly people needed to be able to jump between tenants and things like that. So
it's a fair comment, though, but 100%, I do ultimately think that this is.
I'm clearly the cynic in this this discussion here, but yeah.
And the fact of the matter is, they canceled the roadmap item that originally was security group driven membership. So I do think that this is a reimagining of what it was supposed to be.
And I think that they're really doing a disservice by not renaming the roadmap item as M365 Group Inception. Yep.
Matt, what's caught your attention?
All right. So the thing that popped up for me was late last week. Let's see. We had Satya, we had Jared Spataro, we had Jeff Teeper, a number of the other, anybody that has a C in front of their title at Microsoft was posting lots and lots about this new hybrid work concept, which Microsoft is pushing pretty hard on. And one thing I will say is I love it when Microsoft says or shows what they're doing, because they always like to say like, oh, well, everybody has their own ways of doing things. And it's like, yeah, but like
it's yours. Tell us how you're using it. Show
exactly.
us the idealized implementation.
Exactly. Right. And like your population of employees is like greater than some states, I think, in the US. Like, we can learn from you.
$1 trillion company uses this.
Exactly. Yes. So if you haven't seen it yet, there's a good article out there from Jared covering their, approach here for the shift to hybrid work, basically saying, if you're not bought into this yet, you're going to be left behind. So, jump on the train now. Covering, let's see, people, places, processes. One of the interesting things I thought was a discussion about new Teams rooms, which it's interesting kind of what they have. Let me go here. And you can see this sort of idealized expanded screen that they're going to be looking at in Microsoft Teams rooms. You're going to see more chat, people pulled out of the meeting itself. Well, not out of the meeting, but like separated from the content. And then like meeting notes and stuff over on the left side, I think it was. Let me pull this up faster.
Hockey puck, that's definitely not an Echo Dot.
Yes, right, exactly. So it was just, it's an interesting change and not about face, but like for them to move forward. But the thing that I really liked about this, and let me just quit my screen share here, was that I really...
of inception.
I know, right? So much deception today. The thing that I really liked was the documents they provided. So the first one was this hybrid workplace flexibility guide, which is literally a PDF. Now it's dated to November 2020, so clearly it's not new. They probably had something similar to this prior to that, but now it has a whole bunch of COVID references, so it's much more apt or timely, theoretically. And the second document was this hybrid work, a guide for business leaders. This one is very much written for business leaders. Very, what's the phrase? Buzz phrasey, lots of quotes, not a whole lot of like super detail, but like
10,000 feet.
Really, really meant for that population, I will say. But they talk a lot in here about how people are going to come back to work, whether they're going to be requesting more time working from home, whether they're going to be requesting a change in location. Like now that you're working from home a lot more, maybe you want to move back, to a home, location or closer to family or whatever else. And then other requests similar to like requesting changes in work hours. So just the fact that like one of these documents, I think it was the first one, is clearly the document that they send out internally, because it even had like links in it that said, click here to for any questions, please reach out to Ask HR. And Ask HR was clearly like their chatbot kind of thing. So this was absolutely internal stuff. And I think it's just really, really helpful. So we got the links for that in the show notes. It should be already there right now. You can check out the initial article, the 2 documents that go with it. And I'm pretty pleased with it. I think they did a nice job with it. And I will say the updated Teams rooms, the designs and that kind of stuff could be, there's not a whole lot of space, I guess. Like it doesn't look very, like they keep saying like, oh, bigger screens. And it's almost like they haven't considered the concept of a projector where you can have like as big of a I don't know, screen as you want basically. But they definitely need more space to see I don't know. It's almost like they think you can see meeting chat without squinting really hard, at the setup they have. But
and organizations are going to even pay for screens that big, for that matter. I mean, again, we're talking about Microsoft pitching this at the $10 million plus companies.
Yes, probably. Or well, I mean, maybe not. I don't know. Like, could be. I don't know. Theoretically, anybody, I guess, but. Who knows?
Scenario where somebody's walking through a hallway and they just pass a TV and they go, "Oh, there's the meeting that I'm late for."
That right? Yeah, exactly. But anyway, I will always give kudos when I see actual real world stuff that they're putting out there and making available to us. And I was reasonably impressed with the documentation they provided. The articles that were put out were pretty markety, speech, but otherwise it was pretty good.
Yeah, it's always substance, more substance wherever possible.
Yep. No, definitely. All right. So I think that's pretty good for the topics for today. Let's jump into the upcoming events. So there's not really any changes other than an error that I had last week. But this week, tomorrow, starts Microsoft Build. Beginning of June, we're going to see the M365 Chicago conference. And then June 8th, that week, is going to be the M365 Collaboration Conference. Again, if you want to join in on that, either in person or virtually, Sean and I will both be taking part in that. Sean's got a workshop on the Friday for that, which I believe is your build your own training solution on the inside or something along those lines. Is
Yeah,
that what it
it's
was called?
the title of the session is "Build Your Own M365 Training Program from the Inside," and it's this idea of, how do you take the resources that that are at your disposal, whether you've got an L&D team or not, and how do you start to provide those resources for yourself or your organization? And I think it's going to be a really great conversation. 8 hours of super exciting stuff, and if nothing else, an opportunity for us to hang out.
Yep, definitely. And I'll be covering a session on Teams and a session on an intro session to M365 groups. And that's where that bat with the burnt comments in it will come in very handy. And then after that in July,
swag.
I know, right? Exactly. I have to think about that for next year. We got Microsoft Inspire, the partner conference, and then Microsoft or the SharePoint Fest Chicago is going to be at the end of July. And I believe that's the first fully in-person one. The error from last week was Commsverse. Commsverse I thought was going to be this month, and it actually got pushed out, I think, till September. That's also in person in the UK, if anybody has any interest in joining in that one. So that's all I've got for events this week. Let's see.
It's
Sean,
so fascinating to see all the in-person events starting to trickle in. Of course, you and I know a hybrid event in a couple weeks, but really starting to see those spaces come in.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it, especially with, I know that the conference we're going to is kind of, it was a bit of a gamble on whether or not people are going to be able to, I don't know, even congregate, that kind of stuff. But it looks like there's even going to be the chance that, people can go maskless if they wanted to, potentially. I don't know what the rules will be like with the Disney property, but,
I've
I'll
already
still have
told
my mask with me,
that I'm
but
going to be speaking from plexiglass box on stage.
I actually think they're going to have plexiglass anyway. Mm-hmm. I think that was the plan.
Oh, no, I'm bringing my own.
Oh, nice. Okay, perfect. Well, I'm going to bring a heat lamp.
Zorbs.
Yeah, no. I'm going to bring a heat lamp so you just sweat your butt off, and it's going to be great for everybody. Everybody involved. Time. Awesome. All right. Well, I think that just about does it. Brings us to the end for today. Thanks so much for watching, and as always, a like and subscribe is much appreciated. Thanks so much for taking part with the comments and chat. Yeah. Actually, we're going to have to. Sean, I hadn't really thought about that. The comments, we're going to actually bring those into this and have a little fun with it, I think.
Let's take one more. I mean, we've got a minute or two. Let's
Bugler the Bubble Boy. I like that one. I'm just gonna
hate that.
Can I just whoops, somebody beat me to it. There we go. Yeah, I'm just gonna highlight that one. I like that a lot. But yeah.
Let's see. I like this one. Question about Microsoft Viva. A lot of the documentation around it surrounds companies and businesses. How do you think that's going to fit into an educational context? Dollars to Donuts, they're not even thinking about that yet. Should they be?
I mean, I don't think anybody should be. I mean, if you take a bunch of apples out of a bag and you put them into separate bags, they're still apples. Like, it's literally just a rebundling of existing applications. The Viva thing is really just meant for upper level folks. Like, I get that some of the apps and teams are going to say Viva on them, but like, the only new thing is the Microsoft Learning experience, and that's just going to be Microsoft Learning.
Don't forget the Headspace integration.
Headspace is its own brand. They bought it, didn't they? Acquired it, or they brought it in?
I think they just partnered with them.
Yeah, right. Oh, so yeah, that's an investment right there. Like, come on. What if they back out? Well, I mean, they're never going to back out. Microsoft's
think about
from the money,
all the children that could have their own virtual commutes.
Yes, all of the virtual commute. That hour-long bus ride that kids have been complaining about for the last 25 years. That can be their new normal, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. It's a good question.
Tim asked another question here. Have I been practicing reading from the teleprompter? No, I just am substantially less hungover than the last time I did this.
Now that's real honesty. You can't even pay for that.
With the live experience, which is why you should come or attend virtually. The upcoming conference, the M365 Collaboration Summit, because you're going to get that unmitigated honesty that comes with just listening to me ramble.
Yeah, but you don't ramble. That's the thing. I love you, but I hate you because you don't ramble. You're an excellent storyteller. That's why I despise you so much.
See, there's that marketing. Why can't you do that for you?
Because I started it with "I hate you." That's where it came from. It started negative.
Well, all right. I like it. I think we should.
Well, I think that's probably
to the end of this.
I think so. Yeah, maybe we'll do a question and answer time at the end when we'll do like some minor free consulting or something along those lines. let's see. Jeremy's building more teams room in our facility. In response to Jamie's comment about more companies spending money is probably unlikely. But I don't know if people are going to like Hot Desk. You need to have that kind of resource, I guess. But we'll see what happens. So
We'll see.
cool. All right, Sean. It was good chatting with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you too. And we'll see you next week. We'll see everybody else next week. And be sure to share the link here with anybody that does not watch it live. Let them know that this is now a live show and that they can see some really high production value of me trying to figure out which button to press to make sure that Sean is up and I'm not in the frame any longer.
My blue screen didn't fall all the way down.
We practiced that blue screen switch out so many times and watch it's not him the one screwing it up. It's me. So, But anyway, Sean, thanks so much for joining me this week and for everybody else for attending and watching later on. And look forward to seeing you all, next week.
Next week.